Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
Matt Horn
is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
The inner circle of death is where he resides. Hunting them at the far reaches of the earth and beyond. And with him lies our salvation. There is only one dominant life form in this universe, and it carries a steel-barreled sword of vengeance. Welcome home, Great Slayer.
Hey, Matt, it's AJ, just giving you a call. I thought we were going to talk about Doom Eternal today, but clearly you're too busy to talk to me, so I'll ring you back in a couple minutes. Yeah, give me a call. All right, miss you, buddy. I love you. Okay, all right, bye.
on the line. We're talking with AJ LoCosio, talking to us from where are you talking to us from, AJ?
Los Angeles.
These interviews are too easy. They're way too easy. Obviously, we should mention the Los Angeles that is currently locked down.
It's so weird. I can actually see downtown and all that stuff because there's no smog. It's very weird.
So obviously, this is the elephant in the room, which is COVID-19. People said to me, "Are you on a break? You know, are you stopping production of these podcasts?" No, not really. I mean, the funny thing is, obviously, the film and TV industry is completely halted. You know, they're not releasing anything, and if they are releasing anything, it's on Netflix or your Amazon Prime. But then you've also got the gaming industry, which seems to just be continuing as normal.
Sort of. A lot of people are just trying to sort out how to do it. Because, you know, a lot of people are working from home and even just voice recording. Everyone's trying to agree on what's the best method to do it. So everything that I've got booked keeps getting pushed, you know, further and further back because nobody could agree on one method to record or work. So it's been weird, but people are trying.
I mean, obviously, I'm guessing you've got your own studio. I would presume so.
I'm standing in a closet right now. If you can call that a studio, then yeah, I've got a great studio.
That's the thing I've been hearing so far is a lot of the gaming companies are actually trying to find ways around it, trying to sort of give advice on how to keep going, basically.
I'm hoping once this is all over that people will learn that we can actually do a little more work from home because, you know, certain people, certain jobs can easily work from home. Not all. Like motion capture, they have no idea what to do about that. I've got some stuff I'm working on now where they're like, we don't know. They just keep pushing it back because obviously, unless we're wearing hazmat suits, I don't know how that's going to work out.
Well, I mean, this is one of the things. Obviously, given the fact that most of the places in the world are actually vacant now. I mean, Paris is vacant, Los Angeles is vacant. Can't they just get a load of people to strap on mocap suits, get permission from the government, and do the shooting like that?
Yeah, I'm sure we'd be fine.
I mean, The Walking Dead, you know, 28 days later, could have done it. Didn't have to close anything down, just wait until this happened. So, obviously, this pandemic, as it is, has thrown up terms such as self-isolation and social distancing. What's that been like for you?
This is what I've been practicing for my whole life. You know, as an introvert, this is great. On some level, it is maddening. There's only a certain amount of being in your apartment playing Animal Crossing that you can take. But it's been all right. I mean, I feel very lucky that we can just social distance and stay inside and stay locked down. But I don't know. It goes from like, hey, this is all right, you know, catching up on Netflix shows to this is maddening.
I do have to ask the question, AJ, apologies in advance. Are you fully stocked up?
You know, we might run out of TP soon. Not really. We're going to have to go grocery shopping real soon, which we haven't done in a couple weeks. So no. Got a lot of paper towels, but that's it. Can't eat those.
Do you think the COVID-19 virus is our doom eternal?
Good segue. I don't know. Hey, maybe. But I'm hoping not. I'm hoping we figure something out. But doom eternal, huh? What a segue.
which has obviously been released. I covered the original, the Doom 2016 reboot, and from what I've played, what I've seen, it's just the next jump, really, isn't it?
Yeah. I've watched some playthroughs online, but I haven't played it yet. We don't get sent things if we work on stuff, so it's like you have to go, it's like, oh, okay, I gotta go get this after I beat Zelda and everything else. It's insane. It's such a beautiful, crazy game.
What was production of the game like for you?
Simple. I went in, I recorded, and that was kind of it. I had no idea what I was doing, which is the case with most video games where you're not given a lot of context, and if I'm not mistaken, they wouldn't tell me what it was even for until afterwards. I had to kind of go, is this Doom? Is this Doom? And they like kind of looked around and were like, yeah, that's Doom, which is pretty common, where you're not allowed to know what you're working on. It had some sort of code name when I went in. I don't remember what it was. It was like Goldfish or something. I wish I had a more miraculous story, but I went in, no idea what I was doing, and then sort of weaseled an answer out of them, and I was like, okay, cool, I'll see that in a year.
I'm not taking the mick here, AJ, for this, but basically you're playing a Sentinel Guard and an Arc Scientist.
Right.
Right. And obviously I was just thinking, wouldn't it have been really, really sucky if it turned out to be Animal Crossing?
I would have been okay with that, but then our voices would have been like... It would have been all scrambled and weird.
What was that?
That was my Animal Crossing voice.
How do you do that? That's great.
I don't know. I don't think I ever hit puberty, maybe. Maybe that's what it is. I keep that in my back pocket.
That's basically what the sound is made when you press the forward bit on the tape recorder.
Yeah. More or less. That's what I'm going for. That's my dream role.
That's a gift, that is. But obviously, given the fact that it's Doom, I do have to ask the stupidest question of all. Had you played Doom before you'd even signed onto the project?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when I was a kid, obviously. That and Duke Nukem and, Wolfenstein. I feel like Doom came on one of my computers or something, or that's the way it felt as a kid. I'm sure, I know it didn't. But, yes, that and Wolfenstein I played a lot.
Wolfenstein has had its resurgence.
Yeah, I haven't played that yet. My friend Shelby is one of the Blazkowicz sisters, which is pretty cool. Oh boy, we've come a long way from like 2D PNGs floating in a background. Like it's pretty wild. If you were to show that to us as like kids, we'd crap our pants.
There's a bit of mocap these days with big properties. I'm sure Doom probably had a mocap bit in it that they needed someone to do. And obviously nowadays you've got stuff like VR, which obviously is now taking the centre stage, as it were. It does turn out, in fact, that there is a VR for Doom.
Is there?
Yeah, I'm just looking at it now. It does look as if you basically are turning around and shooting stuff with your
gun. Man, that would be awesome to do. And have you done The Void or any of those?
No, I did Doctor Who.
Is that one of those ones where you like show up at a mall, you put on like a kit? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Anything like that. I would love to have more of those like experiences, because the Star Wars Void is one of the most Star Warsy experiences I've ever done in my life, where it's like, my God, I'm in Star Wars. It's weird, but I didn't know there was a Doctor Who one. How is that? I'm very curious to hear about that.
Well, you get to wander around the TARDIS. That's probably the weirdest thing.
That's cool.
Yeah. The question I had was obviously with stuff like Doom and Wolfenstein, where do you see the next jump? Because the only jump you can really do now is if you are playing the whole game in VR.
I'm hoping, if the world doesn't come to an end within the year, I feel like my ideal situation would be to have like some sort of Minority Report type room where we're walking on treadmills or doing something where you can actually walk around in the VR space. Because I feel like the Void or one of those VR, I don't know how to describe it, like amusement park rooms where they've got like wood flats that you sort of walk through like a maze is brilliant, but obviously it's not something you could have at home. Man, I would love to see something where you could actually physically move around the space. There was something like that, like a 360 treadmill, like a couple years ago that someone had made, where basically you could walk in any direction and it would kind of figure out which way you were going. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do. There was actually something I saw a couple of months ago. Have you played Death Stranding?
No, but I'm very well aware of it.
Someone was quite clever enough to actually do what you're suggesting. They got a treadmill and I think they must have put something on like a rucksack and then put their VR goggles on, and they basically played Death Stranding in the walking bits.
That's awesome.
It's just bonkers.
The thing is I feel like so many of those technologies fail. Like, I remember as a kid looking through, like, Nintendo magazine and seeing those, like, pads for, like, Mortal Kombat where you punch and kick and supposedly it would register, and there were so many different iterations of that, and everyone's kind of like, I'm not going to invest in that. So I wonder if something like that would even get far, because I know, I couldn't put a treadmill like that in my apartment. That would be absurd.
Well, I do have to obviously mention it, because that's why we're here. There was a Doom film, not so long ago. Yeah. What did you think of it?
I think I've only seen highlights of it. Like, I think I watched there's a show or a YouTube channel, Caravan of Garbage. I think I watched their review of it. From what little I saw, it looked absurd. I remember being excited when it was going to come out, and then all my friends were like, we're not going to see that. Didn't quite look like what I wanted out of a Doom film. I feel like a Doom movie should have felt more like what this game is, where it's a big, hulking character and sort of absurd humor. You can't really take Doom and turn it into Alien. It doesn't really, or whatever that was. It was kind of a weird miss.
If you get the collector's edition of Doom Eternal, this is for the cosplayers out there who want to actually go around dressed as Doom guy, you can actually get a helmet.
Wow, that's cool.
This is about 199 quid though, just for anyone who's thinking, oh, I might go and get that. Yeah, you get the actual helmet.
That doesn't sound that bad for a cool cosplay helmet. I'd pay that much for like a Samus helmet maybe, or there's certain helmets I would want from like my childhood. No offense to Doom.
Well, obviously I do have to go back into Doom Eternal quickly. Are there any sort of funny anecdotes you can share about the production of the game?
Man, let me think. It was such a quick 1 or 2 sessions. I wish I did have something. Oh man, I had no idea what I was doing. That's about it. I mean, I remember going in and being like, I don't know what this is, and them not being able to give me any answers. Maybe the only thing I could think of is I did this one character that I don't think made it, where it was sort of this androgynous male-female character that they were surprised. They were like, whoa, that came out of you? And I was like, yeah, what do you mean? They're like, we thought it sounded like a woman. And I was like, oh, thanks. I'll take it. It was sort of this high-pitched, weird, almost like Michael Jackson voice. And I think it was more or less a test because they didn't ask me to do any more after that. But that's about it, if I could think of anything. It was such a quick, session.
That scared the Doom players. Yeah, that has scared the Doom players. Well, AJ, let's talk a bit about you yourself. What made you want to get into voice acting in the first place?
When I was a kid, I just loved filmmaking and acting and everything. It was something that, I was obsessed with, but I never thought I could actually do. And voice acting was never really... it seems like such an absurd thing to get into. Now it seems more plausible because you can go online and see, wow, there's a voice actor who's actually living and breathing and making money. But, back in the 90s, it was not something that seemed realistic. So when I did Back to the Future, the game, it was the first game I'd ever done. So I just kind of, I heard they were doing the Back to the Future game, and I called up the company and left a voicemail message as Marty McFly. And they were like, hey, that was great. Can you do an audition? And I was like, all right. So then I moved out to L.A. I was in New Jersey at the time. Moved out to L.A. Like 3 months had passed. And the week I had gotten here, they're like, can you audition again? And I was like, sure. So I did, and then I got it, which was insane and life-changing and was a big explosion of anxiety. And then that was obviously the first time I'd really done voiceover for anything professional, but I feel like such a jerk being like, it wasn't something I was trying to do, but it really wasn't, because it seemed so outlandish to ever try to do it. Like, I'd always done voices, and, that was a big part of my life, was doing sort of voice matching, where I loved doing impressions, but only if I could nail it. I didn't want to just do bad, broad impressions of Al Pacino. So, did that kind of answer your question? I took a long, twisty road to get there.
It's all right. Yeah. What advice would you give to anyone wanting to pursue a career in the industry?
Everything's in such flux right now, but I think the biggest thing is you got to have a voice reel. I think a lot of people, they're like, I want to get into voice acting. It's like, cool, make a reel. And unlike on-camera acting or most things, for voiceover, you don't need to have a body of work to make a reel from. You can just do a minute long. It has to be like under a minute. It's sort of reel of different characters you do. And so it's like doing just a wide variety of your characters and voices, then getting it out there and submitting it to agents. And I have friends that have made YouTube videos where they do impressions and stuff that have gotten agents through that. There was one guy who did basically like every accent in Europe. He would go through like region by region, and it was so impressive that he booked an agent through that. But just making it known, there's a Steve Martin quote that's like, be so good they can't ignore you. And I think that that's, especially today where there's so much content, making yourself known without being an ass and without being obnoxious, because there's a lot of that too, where people are like, here's 1,000 voices in 10 seconds. And it's like, no one wants that. They want to see good quality stuff that represents who you are and what's unique about your voice and what you do. Nobody wants to hear another Stewie Griffin or, the same impression everyone else does, like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, that's not impressive anymore. Like, if you could do, like, a really weird, like, Sam Rockwell impression, it's like, whoa, that's strange. I never thought anyone could do that. I think finding your niche is a big thing and getting it out there.
Well, you mentioned about doing a demo reel in a minute. I think we can test this ability, AJ. So you now have 1 minute. It'll probably be slightly longer, but you now have 1 minute to do as many character impressions or actors you can do. Okay.
Oh my God. Yes. All right. Let me know.
Whenever you're ready, starting now.
Wait a minute, Doc. Are you telling me you built a time machine out of a DeLorean? Then there's running and screaming. Oh, Chewie. Ooh, scruffy looking. My brain just farted. I'm like, what else do I do? Let's see. Oh, my goodness. I'm just going back into Jeff Goldblum. Ooh, he's so easy and so fun. There's Thunk, from the Croods. Hey, I'm Thunk. This is my dog, Douglas, or whatever he is. He's like a lizard thing. I don't know. Hello there. There's Obi-Wan Kenobi. He pops off. Oh, I hope not. He pops into my mind. I got nothing, dude. Oh, man, this is so tough. I need to, write a list of characters I do. I could do Stan Lee, but a very bad impression of Stan Lee that sounds like Mike Wazowski.
What about Chris Pratt?
Chris Pratt's such a normal guy. That's what's tough. I was thinking about it. I was like, hey, I'm Chris Pratt. This is what my voice sounds like, and awesome. Totally awesome. Like, his voice is basically similar to mine, so it's hard to just do a line and people go, that's Chris Pratt. Is my minute over yet?
Well, I can make your life a little bit more funnier. So obviously, you know that there is a new Jurassic Park film coming.
Yes.
Where they're bringing back all the original cast alongside Chris Pratt.
Right.
Okay. There is a technique that I've seen voiceover artists do quite a bit, which is to have two characters talking to each other, basically having a conversation. Can you try and do a conversation between Chris Pratt and Jeff Goldblum
Okay.
about the dinosaurs?
All right, here we go. You train dinosaurs. You train velociraptors. Yeah, well, I have a pack of dinosaurs that I wrangle together. That sounds very dangerous, perhaps unwise. Maybe one might say chaotic, idiotic. Well, I wouldn't say that. My friend Blue here, I've got him pretty well trained. We're like a pack, tight-knit family. We all work together, hang out together, eat together, sleep together. We're basically just a big old raptor pack. Oh, that sounds insane. Perhaps you should see maybe a doctor or someone. Maybe I'm not sure, but you are putting yourself in a lot of danger. I love danger. Danger's my favorite thing. I go to danger every day. I don't even know what that means. I just said it out loud. What the hell would Owen Grady say to Ewan McGregor? Ian McGregor? Oh my God, my brain is
Jeff Goldblum.
Ian Malcolm. Yeah, Jeff Goldblum. What would he say to Ewan McGregor?
The force is strong with this pack.
The force is very strong with this pack.
Yeah.
I don't do as good of an impression of Ewan McGregor as my friend James Arnold Taylor, who does Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's phenomenal. Have you watched Clone Wars?
I've met him. I've interviewed him. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, years ago, though.
He's so sweet. I love him. He's such a sweet, wonderful, warm human being.
His track record, my God, it's going back years.
Yeah. He was young Doc in the Back to the Future game. He did an insane job. It's really wonderful.
Well, obviously, we need to talk about Back to the Future.
Please.
Because, I mean, it was a episodic thing to start off with, and then they re-released it as a full game, basically, not so long ago. When someone says to you, we're thinking of doing a new Back to the Future game, are you immediately thinking, as obviously you would be Marty, how the hell am I going to do this properly?
Yes. If we're talking however long, maybe it was 10 years ago when I first did that, I did the impression, or I did the audition, and I was like, all right, yeah, they're not going to cast me. They're going to use Michael J. Fox, so why not? I'll throw this out there and see what happens. And then when they said, all right, you're up to bat, I didn't eat for like 2 weeks. I was so horribly nervous and sick over it. Like, the amount of anxiety I had is more than I think I've ever had in my life, because it was like, here's this unknown schmuck from New Jersey that was suddenly stepping into Michael J. Fox's shoes and having to not only do an impression or a voice match, but then do hours and hours and hours of stuff outside of what you had normally heard. Because it's one thing to replicate a line, but then to carry that character, throughout a whole journey is very intimidating. I mean, I was very lucky that it was in my wheelhouse and that I really loved it, and it was a great supportive crew. But yeah, I was basically crapping my pants for like a couple months. It was terrifying.
I feel sorry for voiceover artists at the minute. The reason being is they've just released Groundhog Day on VR. That is actually a thing. That's not a joke. That is actually a game. It's Groundhog Day on VR.
This is real?
Yeah.
With Bill Murray?
No.
Okay. Is it, it's like you wake up and then it starts over again and Sonny and Cher?
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much on the ball with that, yeah. None of the original cast are in it. And here we are with Back to the Future, which is a sequel to the film. I feel sorry for any voiceover artist who's basically, instead of them going down the film route, I mean, they've been talking about a Back to the Future reboot for God knows how long, but to obviously put it into a game package, it must be quite hard for you guys to think, oh God, if the fans, don't like it, I'm out of a job for about 10 years, probably.
Yeah. I feel so bad for Ahmed Best, who was, Jar Jar Binks, where it wasn't just his voice, but his body, and he was doing interviews, and that character was so, despised by people that it basically obliterated his career, which is awful. I don't know if it's the same thing. Like, if I went in and did a horrible Michael J. Fox impression, it would absolutely, my career would have stopped there. That would have been the end of me. So because people liked it and were really awesome and supportive, it allowed me to get some footing and do other stuff, but yeah, it's scary. To step into the shoes of any actor is weird and fun, and you're just like, God, I hope no one notices. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, is that someone in the YouTube comments won't go, hey, that's not Chris Hemsworth, or whatever,
I don't know if this is true. I hope it's not, but I've heard that there is plans for a Back to the Future reboot, and I don't know if it was the result of the video that they both did that caused people to start talking about it again, but I mean, even if it isn't him, he's still doing Uncharted, so it's more or less the same thing, which is Tom Holland.
I don't think the world needs a Back to the Future reboot. I feel so weird about all that stuff. I understand the studios want to capitalize on a property that's beloved, and just re-releasing it in the theaters isn't going to kind of create the same hype. So it's like Disney when they released hey, we took this animated film you love and we turned it into a live-action movie. You get all the people who love that movie, more or less, to go to the theater. And I feel like that's what you'd be getting with a Back to the Future reboot, is like, hey, remember that thing you love? And I love Tom Holland. I think he's awesome, but I just don't think we need it, but I understand how tempting it is for a studio to be like, hey, we have this thing that's beloved. Let's see if we can refresh it and have it be successful, which, has maybe worked in the past. I can't think of an example, but I don't know. I don't think they're going to do it for a while. I know that Bob Gale has said pretty openly, like, over my dead body. So we might have to wait for the original guys to go the way of the dodo before we see anything like that.
Well, obviously, that brings us quite nicely onto something new, basically, which is Voltron Legacy Defender. Oh,
legendary Defender.
Said so well that the Brit gets it wrong. But yeah, I mean, that's obviously on Netflix, and that's a series that's done quite well for itself. What was it like working on that?
So I went in not knowing that I was going to be a recurring character. I thought I was going to be a one and done kind of guy. So it was a weird experience because when I showed up, they were like, all right, you're Prince Lotor. And I was like, that's amazing. I know that character. I assumed, though, it would just be kind of like, hey, here's a cameo. Now he's dead. I didn't realize it was going to be as big as it was, nor was I emotionally prepared for that because the fan reaction was psychotic in the best way. It was amazing because it was my first really big show or really big anything because I had done other stuff, but no one seemed to really care. I mean, Back to the Future had a big reaction, but nowhere near as big as this. But it was amazing. The cast is incredible. It was the first time I'd worked with some really amazing people like Kimberly Brooks and Josh Keaton and Rhys Darby, and there's so many amazing people on it. It was a lot. It was a lot to take in. So when I started recording, it was before the show had even released. So we didn't know what the fan reaction was going to be. And then when the show hit, it blew up in the best way. And so the cast was tweeting and making all sorts of jokes, and I got to sort of let them be the canary in the mine and see them make a lot of mistakes on social media and get a lot of backlash. So by the time my character came out, I was like, I'm not going to talk about any of that stuff because I know that gets people in a lot of hot water. I mean, it's still going on in some ways. I mean, the show is over, but the fandom is very active.
That's one thing to talk about, which is obviously the fandom and conventions. Yes, conventions. And obviously with conventions you get a lot of cosplayers, you get a lot of fan art, etc. Have you encountered any of that, AJ?
Oh yeah, tons. I've got a box or two of just fan art and things people have given me behind me in my closet. As a voice actor or any actor, it's a dream to have people cosplaying a character that you've done. And so to have people making art and doing videos and making costumes in dedication to your performance or your character is a lot to try to take in. But yeah, I've encountered a lot of it, and it's always really cool to see, when we're at a convention, to see people just standing around in those costumes. It's freaky and delightful.
Well, obviously with the array of different characters that you've done so far, are there any sort of roles that you haven't done yet that you would like to do?
I would love to do Spider-Man. I mean, I kind of did I got called in for the new Spider-Man 2 movie. I was doing some voice matching for Tom Holland in the second movie, but none of it made it into the actual film. So, but for like a split second, I was like, I'm Spider-Man! And then but that's a huge one for me, as I'd love to do Spider-Man. I say Gambit from X-Men, but I think I'd really have to work on my Cajun accent. It's not an easy accent. Yeah, I think Spider-Man would be the top one for me, or Indiana Jones. I mean, I've been lucky to do Han Solo, but there haven't been any Indiana Jones projects that I've been made aware of, so I would love to do that.
Well, actually, you mentioned about Spider-Man now. I don't think we've even heard your Tom Holland yet.
It's kind of just, Mr. Stark. It's just my upper register. It's like Chris Pratt, where there isn't really much of a difference between my normal speaking voice and the actual character. I'm trying to think of a line like, Dr. Strange, so we're using our fake names, okay? Like, he's got just such a normal voice.
I'm so going to tweet him after this interview.
There's some evidence out there. I don't even know if I'm allowed to talk about it. I did something where I voiced him for a commercial, and they kind of are like, don't tell anyone. And I'm like, really? Oh, okay. So there is something I did that's out there, but it's, I don't even know if I'm allowed to talk about it, even though it's been out for several months. It's not a Marvel thing, and it's not a Disney thing, so that narrows it down. But yeah, it's like a whole short kind of thing, and I was like, I can't tell anyone I did this, and they're like, don't. I'm like, all right.
It's going to turn out to be something like McDonald's or something, isn't it?
No, it's not McDonald's. It's out there.
It's out there. Can anyone find it?
Yeah, people can find it. I think I don't know. I think I shared it on my Facebook and then got in trouble. See, that's what's tough about voice matching is you don't always know whether you're allowed to talk about it. Like I've done some stuff for Chris Pratt where they're like, don't tweet that out. And I get it. Nobody wants to be watching a cartoon or a commercial and be like, hey, that's not really the actor. So it does add a layer of a weirdness, I guess, if you're like, hey, they're not really, because the point of us is we're supposed to be, anytime you're doing a voice match, people shouldn't notice. They should just go, oh yeah, that's really the voice of Shrek or whoever it is. I get why the studio wouldn't want to share or let that be known, but it is, as an actor or as someone who's proud of their work, you do want to be like, hey, look, I did this.
Well, I suppose in some ways, would you be considered a stunt, no, not a stunt double, but a voice double?
Yeah, I mean, that's what they call us. even sometimes when you're watching a movie, this actually happens really often where, Johnny Depp can't come in and they'll have someone come in and do a line for him in a feature film where hopefully you would never notice. My friend Jared Butler does that for Johnny Depp all the time, where he's off doing whatever he does, and so they bring in Jared, and he'll do like 1 or 2 lines for Pirates of the Caribbean, and I don't even know if he gets credited. You're just kind of coming in as almost like a stunt performer, but for voice.
Hang on a second. I'm sure I've just heard that name wrong.
It's Jared Butler, not Gerard Butler. Jared Butler, who does a wonderful Johnny Depp impression or voice match for Disney and stuff. But yeah, everyone thinks it's Gerard Butler, and I'm like, no, not Gerard Butler. But yeah, he's done stuff where he goes in and fills in for Johnny Depp on films and stuff, which is pretty wild because, yeah, it's kind of a secret. I didn't know about it until I started doing it.
And here's everyone thinking, oh no, he knows Gerard Butler.
Yeah, nope.
Nope. Well, I'm going to give you a 1-minute plug, AJ. A 1-minute plug to plug, obviously, Doom Eternal and anything else you've got coming up, subject to NDAs.
Yeah, that's the problem. Hey, Doom Eternal, wonderful. I got to actually sit down and play it once I get past Animal Crossing and Ori and the Blind Forest and Zelda. I've got so many things on the Switch that I'm playing through. But I don't know. Check out my Instagram, I guess. You don't really have to. It's at AJ LoCosio. I make a lot of weird sculptures. I do these little thing called spoops, which are like these little Halloween sculptures I do. I just do them for fun, and they sort of took off, and people wanted to buy them, so I've been making those throughout the years. And I don't know. Anything that I could plug, I can't plug because there's nothing I'm allowed to talk about yet. Oh, man. What would I say to check out? I don't know. Watch Voltron. It's a good time to watch Voltron during the quarantine. There's a lot of good show to watch there. If you like Avatar: The Last Airbender, it has a similar vibe that I think, at least. I mean, it's hard to be objective when you're in a show, but go check that out. It's wonderful.
Tell us a bit more about your sculptures. That's quite interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm obsessed with Halloween, and so I started doing these tiny little sculpts, and this is before Voltron became big, and I just kind of posted one on my Instagram. People were like, where do I buy that? And I was like, you don't? I just kind of made it. And so I posted another one, and then people, as the fandom picked up and as people started to follow me more and more, people kept asking, can I buy one? And I was like, sure. So I figured out how to sculpt or mold and cast them, and then they sold out like the first run like instantly. And I was like, all right, let me try it again. And so I just kept doing that, and they kept selling out within like a couple of minutes, and I was like, all right. So then it just kind of picked up, and I'm still just producing them from home, but they're basically just these like little Halloween spirits that I sculpt, and it's just a weird side project that somehow kind of took off on its own. I wish I could produce more of them, but they're just something I do in my kitchen. But basically sculpt them in Sculpey, and then cast them in resin, and paint them up, and yeah, if you could check them out, I think it's AJ's Spoops, SPOOPS. Is the handle on Instagram.
I was going to sort of encourage the fandom here with this one. Are you thinking of potentially doing one as a Doomslayer?
I'm trying to stay away from stuff that I've worked on because people keep wanting me to make a Prince Lotor. I don't know. I don't want to muddy up the Halloween theme of it. I'm afraid also if I start making products based on things I've worked on, getting in trouble. Like if I start selling Lotor stuff, DreamWorks might not be so happy about it, or
They might patent it.
Right, yeah.
Slapped it on a lunchbox and then sold it.
Yeah, and then boom, you're selling. Boom, you're selling.
You knew where I was going with that, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Well, AJ, it's been a pleasure interviewing you.
This has been awesome, dude. Thank you so much for reaching out to me. I'm sorry it took so long. The quarantine has really made everything weird.
Obviously, we'll have to get you back.
Anytime.
Thanks very much for your time, AJ.
Yeah, of course, dude.
Bye-bye now.
All right, bye.